There's a lot of dead wood in there. There's a lot of problems. I liked his answer there, well, a few of them. But I did like when he says about Ronaldo taking more leadership, and he said, I'll talk to Ronaldo first, and then I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I like that. Listen, I'm not going to discuss that here. I'm going to talk to the players. We'll figure it out. But the one thing is, and I'm sure he is, most of the Dutch guys I played with and worked under are extremely focused, extremely single-minded, know what they want, and pursue what they want with a great vehement, at 100%. And he's going to have to do that at this club. I think the last two incumbents, one of them was a part-timer, obviously, in Ralph Rangnick, but the other one wasn't, were weak. Now, Rangnick's position was weak because of his position, which was interim. Solskjaer was just weak because the players knew that he really shouldn't have been there. Erik Ten Hag, I'm sure, will not give over that thought process or indication, but he's going to have to make some real hard decisions, and I think he knows that. It's his way or the highway. Yeah. Otherwise, he's going to hit, or they'll be digging the next grave for the next Man United manager, because there's been a long list since Ferguson. Some pretty good managers have been in that graveyard, and he doesn't want to be the next one. So if he is going to fail, and I'm not saying he is, but if you are going to fail at a job, make sure you bloody well fail it doing it your way.
Right.
Not doing it the way of some other clown who has no idea what the football department is all about.
Mario, with your Ajax ways, tell us a little bit more about Ten Hag and how you think he's going to fit and what sort of person Manchester United have appointed.
Yeah, no, what Craig said is that at Ajax we have a philosophy, right? You got to pick your own, the way you think is right. They want to play creative football, attacking football. They want to win beautifully. It's a little bit, I don't want to say the same, but it's similar to what Pep Guardiola plays. You understand? That's why Barcelona and Ajax are so much in connection with each other. But then away from that, what is very key at Man United is being in charge, because that club is so big and everybody will always be watching it. And what are you going to do? And that is going to be a question for Erik when he comes there, is making sure that he is the leader. Craig highlighted that, because one thing footballers are very good at, it's just like little kids. We will find your weak spot. And when we find it, they almost milk it out. And you as a manager, if you don't want that to happen, you have to show who you are from the first day you get in charge. Because that's why, going back to what he said regarding Ronaldo, for example, he knows that he's one of the most key figures in this group. So he knows that he has to have that conversation with him. He needs to talk to him. He cannot do that in front of everybody and every camera, because then he's going to put himself wide open. No, he's got to do that individually, and that's what they do at Ajax too. You can always go and talk to the coach. So what I feel is that he's going to do a lot of work. That's why he highlighted, he was on TV in Holland, and he said, I'm not going on holiday. And they all started laughing at him, and they said, you're not going on holiday? You're going to get a big job and all that? He said, no, I probably won't have time to go on holiday, because there's so much to be done there. So this is one of the key things, and that's why, his focus is definitely 100% there, because he wants to build something beautiful. And now it comes down to his skills.
It's interesting, the point that both Mario and Shaka, that Craig made, Shaka, is the fact that you're going to go in there and make sure let them know that you are the boss, which they haven't had really, I suppose, since Jose.
Yeah, that's right. Not only that you are the boss, that you have the backing of the club, you're there for the long term, and you're there to do things your way, as Craig rightly pointed out. Because anything less, I think the players take advantage of that, and anything less doesn't serve Manchester United in the long term well at all. Manchester United have watched Manchester City and Liverpool put streets between them and who United are now and who they expect to be. And it's going to be a long time in addressing that gap. And you need to have a manager who has a plan, has authority, has the respect of that dressing room, and is going to build slowly over the next few years. Because it's not a quick fix. As Craig rightly points out, it's a lot of deadwood in that dressing room. You have to bring in a lot to start to compete. and it will take patience from everybody, fans included.
When Sir Alex Ferguson went into Old Trafford in the mid-80s, and you know, the game has changed and the way that the players are recruited and the finances have changed. But the ethos is the same. He went into a struggling United side with some really big players and decided that there was a bit of a drinking culture, a bit of a party culture among some of the real big hitters, and they were big hitters, and he got rid of them. The only one that survived was Brian Robson, and Brian Robson survived, I think, as Sir Alex Ferguson said himself, because he was just too good, as everybody knows. He survived. The rest of them were gone within a year or two, maybe even less than that. And that just showed the rest of the players and the incoming players who was manager. Now, will Erik Ten Hag get that amount of time as Ferguson got when he seemed to be close to the sack at one point before an FA Cup final win and blah, blah, blah? Probably not. But the ethos and the similarities of what he needs to do are kind of similar. He needs to figure out who's with him and who's not with him. And he needs to figure out the good apples and the bad apples. And to go back to Mario's point, the players picked up the weakness in Ralph Rangnick, and that weakness was, one, he didn't have a really big name in coaching, and two, he didn't have a really big contract. He had a 6-month contract. Yeah. They knew that. They found that weakness. They leaked stories to the press. They talked about his training. They were lacklustre in their performances. And so I like the way this new manager speaks. I like the way his Ajax team plays. I think it's a better appointment than going for Pochettino. And I don't necessarily buy this, well, Pochettino's got Premier League experience. Well, he didn't have Premier League experience when he came to Southampton and then he moved to Tottenham. Yep. And then everybody's talking about him with Man United. I like this appointment because I think this guy's super single-minded, plays good football, is not going to suffer any fools, and then it's up to Man United what they do in terms of backing him. But the early signs are they've got themselves a real good apple here, and now it's down to what players are going to be able to do the business for him and what players are going to sign for Man United, which is never really a big story before because they had so much clout to go out and use up most of the other teams. Unfortunately, at the moment, they're in the Europa League and they just scraped into that. So it's going to be a big task for him to pull in some of the real big hitters that they need to match up to the teams that are winning the Premier League, because we've just already talked about City and Liverpool, and we know how good they are.
Mario, what do the players say about him at Ajax?
Oh, the players at Ajax really love him. Like when he left, you understand, some of the players really highlighted because you know what he built at Ajax was that everybody wanted to win for him. And I think that's for any team important. Like, you need players on the field that really want to win for you. If the players don't stand behind him, and that's what Greg said to Rangnick, they start joking about him in the dressing room. You don't want that. You know, when the manager comes in and then you see a couple of group of guys that go like, oh, he's coming in. Okay, you don't want that. You don't want that. You want everybody to be, okay, the manager's coming in, guys. Okay, let's wait. And he created that. And I think that atmosphere also because he brought in a lot of young talent that he brought himself. And that brought the difference. Like, I know we're talking about players that left, like De Ligt and the Young and all those kind of Gravenberch, that is the one that's going to Bayern now. But he created those young talents himself, because I know the club creates you, but then later on it's the manager in the first team that has to give you that chance and has to see the ability of you. And I think that's the same thing he's looking at. I think he didn't sign his deal because he wanted more power than they gave him at first. And that's why the deal took a little bit longer for Ten Hag to sign. And when he signed it, it's because he has more to say now.
But, Shaka, he's just got this summer. He's got this kind of pre-season. How easy, like as Craig says, is it to get the good apples from the bad apples? Because surely you only really know how good your players are when they go out on the pitch and to see whether or not they go to war for you.
Well, I think he knows who's of a quality that he wants to keep. You can tell that just by some of the performances. The challenge he'll find is when he goes in and has a deeper look at some of those contracts, how difficult it is to move some of those players on. You might be stuck with them just because nobody wants to take on their wage. And how do you then balance that? Once you know the players who are of a quality that you want to keep, you have to figure out the ones who will be in the trenches with you. And that's a little bit more difficult that will take getting to know the squad. But right now, I think the bigger problem for Manchester United is you simply don't have enough quality, right? I keep talking about the target being Liverpool and Manchester City. How many players in that Manchester United dressing room, even getting to Liverpool and City's squads? I'm not sure that there are 3 players in that dressing room. So everybody is available. Let's put it that way.
Manchester United have made some bad decisions in recent years, and a lot of them have been on the recruitment front, from managers to players. But the other bad thing I think they've been doing is they have been doing it for quite a while. They're rewarding mediocrity. Now, this has never been a club that's done anything else, and you only get rewarded there if you were shooting for the stars, because that's the standards. That's the standards that they set. They're a global juggernaut in terms of a football club around the world, but yet you only had to bang a few goals in or do something good for a few weeks at this club, and Ed Woodward and his cronies couldn't wait to give you a new 3 or 4 year deal. And that's leaving bigger problems down the line when you realise that it's not working and you've got to make change. So it's been one bad decision after another, from recruitment to contracts to renewals, and now Erik Ten Hag's left with this. It's not all going to happen this summer. It could be quite a bit of movement this summer, but it's going to take a year or two for him to really drill in what Manchester United is all about and what he wants. Can they still get in the top 4 and be better than they are? For sure. Yeah. For sure, 100%. Because if Arsenal and Tottenham can be fighting for the top 4...
anyone can.
Why can't a Manchester United, with their spending and a very good manager, be doing it? But fighting for the next level, that's a different matter.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.